What's up, y'all? I'm PC McCray.
Hey, y'all, my name is Shonda Head, and this is the Everything Has Changed podcast.
From two college roommates to 40-something adults, life has been lifing, and we want to talk about it. We're the new adults, y'all. How did that happen?
I don't know, P, but we got to talk about it.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Let's go.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone, to Phyllis's solo pod. We mentioned earlier in the new season, we said that we will be doing individual podcasts from time to time. And today is my turn. And so mine is a little special, a little different. And I just excited for everybody to hear it and see it. Quickly, I'll just say what's going on with me. It's the holiday season. We're gearing up for Christmas, and I am managing. I'm managing as well as possible, but I'm just grateful. Grateful for time, the time that I have, the time that I have with my family and friends now. And so that's what I'm going to focus on. Of course, I miss my mother, all the loved ones, but we're making it. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy this solo podcast with my guest that'll be joining me. And we'll see you next week with Shonda and I back at it. Hello there, everyone. It's me, PC McCray. I am here on my solo podcast, but I am joined by a special guest, my friend Tarcia Smith. And she has a wonderful podcast that I was recently on, the Adoption Journey podcast. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. Tell the people a little bit about who you are before we get into it.
Hey, family. So, as she said, I am Tarcia Smith, the host of the Adoption Journey podcast. And I am so excited to be on the Everything Has Changed podcast as a guest. Started the podcast in 2023. I'm an adoptee, so it's all about adoption. And I talk to adoptees, adopted parents, foster parents, everybody. And it's a storytelling platform, and we come and just share our story, share our journey, and hopefully we can help someone and
Yeah.
even help ourselves because telling our story is therapeutic.
Very good. And I helped her by interviewing her. She interviews other people, but interviewing her for her 100th episode. And you can go to the Adoption Journey podcast and go listen to that episode to get like the full story and the full details. We won't go back into everything, but just to give the people a little bit more nuance to what we'll discuss. Your podcast has been life changing for many people, including yourself. Can you get into a little bit about what got you into this podcast, to start this podcast?
Yeah, so like I said, I am an adoptee, and the only thing I'd set out to do is just tell my story because at that point in my life, I had found my birth mother and my brothers and my grandmother, all on my maternal side. And I had never really dived into my story. And, um, I was just gonna tell it. I was gonna s I if you go back, it's 3 episodes broken up into, like, 25-minute segments, cliffhangers and everything, and that is all I was going to do. And they say if you wanna hear God laugh, tell him your plans.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because in the process of that happening, I started getting inboxes and people saying they would like to come on the show, or even saying, "I had no idea you were adopted," and, "Oh my gosh," and all this stuff, and so that's kinda how the train started rolling. To answer your question about it being life-changing for myself, it's because of the what I've learned and the conversations I've had with people
Yeah.
has made me realize some stuff about myself because you kinda live in this well, I'll speak for myself. I live in this little bubble. Rainbows, unicorns, and ponies is what we will call it. It's a beautiful place. And I just I just thought, everything was fine, even though there's always been things, but I didn't have verbiage for those things. And I came from I was adopted into a beautiful, wonderful family, like, that's my family, period.
Yeah.
But it was just those types of conversations weren't happening in the home. No fault to anybody, it's just, I'm a '70s baby, different era, different mindset.
Yeah.
But when I started learning some things and then learning some things about myself, I'm like, "Oh, girl, there are definitely things, and, you've been displaying these things and, not even realizing, and you've taken some unfortunately, you've taken some casualties with you sometimes."
Yeah.
And so, it made me do that hard look in the mirror. I credit the podcast for making me do that because I don't know if I ever would have done that had I not started the podcast because why would I? Like, what reason would I have had to do that?
Mhm. It's like you said, you're thinking everything is fine.
Everything is
I
great.
don't have issues. I had a wonderful
No,
childhood. Like,
I'm
okay.
fine. I am fine.
Mm.
I am
Mm.
not fine.
Right. Yeah. And it's so profound because here you like you said, you're just starting off trying to tell your story and you end up helping others and helping yourself understand and unravel some stuff that you didn't even wasn't even on the radar
Mm,
until as you're talking to these different people and you're learning more about adoptees and what they go through, you're like, "Oh, wait. Hmm,
I
that
was
sounds a
beginning
little familiar."
yeah, I could start it was like a checklist, and I could
Mhm.
check that box, check that box, check that box, and then it turned into donkeys and thunderstorms.
Okay. Alright, alright. Okay. So you said there were checkpoints. So as you're interviewing different guests, you're seeing or noticing like, I do that." Oh, like how far into it as once you start interviewing, did you start to get a little flicker like, "Well, wait a minute.
Mm,
Hold on."
maybe, maybe about 6 or 7 months in.
Mm.
'Cause, you're in denial at first. It's like, "Oh, it's so sad for them."
Uh, mm. Aw,
Aw,
for them.
for them.
Meanwhile, wow.
And then I was like, "Wait a minute, girl." And I don't remember the exact moment, but, at some point, it was like an awakening, like, "Oh, stop. You keep hearing the same things over and over,
Mhm.
and you do those things, or you have done those things, or you're guilty of those things." Thunderstorms and donkeys.
Okay. That phrase is taking me out. I It's the donkeys part that's okay. Well, our listeners, um, know the story, but just for repeating, I had the liver transplant and the medications, the anti-rejection meds that I take right on the bottle, it says birth defects. And so I knew and I tried, my team tried to get me off that particular medication into something else. And once I got off that medication, I started to go into rejection. And so my team was like, Your body likes this medication, it reacts to this medication." So I had to then I have to grieve. Every day, I still grieve the possibility of having my own child. But I knew I could not risk. hurting my baby. Like,
Mm,
just even the egg retrieval, all those thoughts came through my mind, but that medicine is still in my system. And so having to grieve that. So I then thought, okay, I still would like to be a mother someday, thinking I'm okay with adopting. Not a problem. These babies need love and care, and I can be a good mother. And your listening to your podcast helped me to shape um, just some more thoughts that would go into it. It's not as easy as I'm going to get this baby and love them, and that's it. Now, I wouldn't know, being that I have friends who are adopted. Even prior to you starting this podcast, I knew to in my mind, I was like, okay, I would make sure that they would have some history in case they had questions and understand where they came from in case, but they would be my baby, you know? Like most adoptive parents think. Excuse me. But the way you break down in the podcast and you break down what it means to the child, you
mm.
take it just it's things that I didn't even think of. And you had a good childhood, you know? So I'm thinking in my world, okay, my kid would essentially have a good childhood. And yet you still have these stories, these, as you say, donkeys. And I still can't. You're recognizing the adoption. I don't want to say trauma. What do you call
Oh,
it?
absolutely, it's trauma.
Trauma?
It's
It's
trauma with
still
the
trauma.
mhm, mhm, it's still a form of trauma. I like to say trauma with the capital T or trauma with the little t.
Mm,
Mine is probably I would classify mine as trauma with the little t
okay.
because my things are very, internal and, and let me clarify that because there are some adoptees that have horror stories. My God.
Yes. And
Trapple
that's what we hear.
and that's what you hear. You know why? Because those
Mm,
stories are sexy.
mm. We
As
love
crazy
drama.
as that sounds, but yeah, it's the drama. Those are the stories that quote unquote sell. Those are the stories that get your attention. But a person like me, I had a good childhood. People
Mhm.
don't wanna hear those stories.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you even get vilified for having a good childhood as an adoptee. That's a thing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So then too so our types of stories kinda get drowned in the noise
Mm,
because people want the drama. I don't have drama. I just have
mhm,
things that I've had to deal with. Um, for me, it's the clinginess. Um, for me, it's and I will say severe abandonment issues. I didn't know how bad it was. Like, I can still think on things that happened over 30 years ago and how it made me feel, and like vividly remember how it made me feel. And now I understand what that was. The need for I don't quite know what to call this, but, just the need for, um, people and having people in a certain box in my life, and if those boxes are empty, it doesn't feel good.
mm.
S
Help me unpack that a little bit.
Friends,
Mhm.
um, I want I want friends. It's great.
Yeah.
And when I feel like and I don't my husband would say, "Girl, you're doing too much," but if you know my husband,
Yeah.
good old Jimmy. But sometimes it doesn't feel like I have friends. At my big age right now, sometimes it's like, "Where are the people?" Um, sometimes I feel left out. in things. Not that anybody told me I couldn't come or I wasn't
Mhm.
invited but I have figured out a way to feel like that, and then now I'm gonna sulk in it. I still
Mhm.
grapple with that at
Mhm.
my big age, and if you peel back all the layers, the research talks about, infants that, are removed from okay, here's a great analogy. They tell you not to remove puppies from their mom for the first 8 weeks.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
a reason for that. It's kinda the
Mhm.
same thought for me personally. My paperwork says that I remained with my birth mom for the first 24 hours. Is that true or not is up for a debate, another conversation, another time. But that's what my paperwork says. Thereafter, I went to foster care for about a month. What was going on in that time? Who knows? I have no
Yeah.
record of that. I'm not able to get a hold of my official, case. It's probably documented somewhere. So that skin to skin, that just being, there's a piece there that I missed,
Mhm.
and it does something internally. And that's not even just for adoptees, unfortunately, there are babies that the mom passes away. It's kind of the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so fast forward 50 years later, I'm still grappling with some things. And then, like I said, taking out people as I go, not even realizing
What it is.
what it is.
And I wanna fill in the gaps here a little bit too, because how old were you when you were adopted?
Um, 5, 6 weeks,
So you were
baby.
6 weeks. Um, and immediately your parents, who are your parents,
Those are my peeps.
your peeps, and they told you you were adopted.
I told them.
Oh, you told them.
What I mean I shouldn't say tell, but I
Right.
asked when I was about 6 or somewhere between 6 and 8. I'm of the era of Annie, and they made it look so she has a wonderful life.
Annie, yeah.
Annie! And also, there was a show that Tisha Campbell was on, and for the life of me, I can't call it right now, but she was in the orphanage.
Mm.
If you look ba somebody put it in the comments because I know somebody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, look that up. But also, that was on TV too, so I'm seeing stuff, and actually now hold on, that's a little later in life, but when I was a little girl, it was definitely Annie. I
Okay.
had the soundtrack, I was dancing to all the songs. To this day, I could still sing every song word for word. That's how much I
Yeah.
listened to that record. And I also didn't look like anybody in my home or my family. And in particular, my mom is a lot like she would kill me, but I'm finna say it. My mama is a red bone, she hates that.
Don't get at your
I'm about
big
to get in
age,
trouble at
don't
my
get
big age.
snatched.
I'm finna get
She
snatched.
still gonna get you.
She hates that, but she is. And I'm chocolate. I remember putting my arm against my mom and looking like we were so different. Our hair, my mama, back in the day, they had them perms. My mama hair was down her
Mhm.
back. My hair didn't look like that. I saw the difference. And so one
Yeah.
day I just asked, "Am I adopted?" And my mama thought she had seen a ghost.
I
That look you
mean,
just gave, she
'cause
said,
wait,
"Yeah," and I went on and played because I had Barbies to tend to, so I had things to do.
that's all I wanted to know. I
I
just,
want to know
and
6,
how old again?
somewhere between 6 and 8.
So awareness of something's different,
Yeah,
and the
early.
innocence of, "Am I adopted?" 'Cause of Annie or just
Annie or just and too, I also talk about this early on in my podcast, um, vocabulary words at school.
mm, a spelling test.
Mhm. Seeing words.
What does adoption mean?
Mhm.
Mm,
I was at one note and just, you know, and by now we're in the '80s. I went to a at that time, I was at this Catholic private school, and what private school was then versus what it is now look real different.
yeah,
Yeah, they was teaching some stuff that you probably wouldn't see a 2nd or 3rd grader learning right now. Just to put some context too.
especially now.
Yeah.
Wow. So you know that something is different. You
Mhm.
ask, "Hey, mom, am I adopted?" And then they're faced with your parents are like, "Oh, this child is asking questions." She said yes, but you carried on. When
Yes, it
did
is.
you when did that register or did they come back around and have a conversation with you?
No, they didn't
Okay.
come back around to have a conversation with me because I was so proud. I was telling everybody.
Mm.
So the
I'm
conversation
adopted.
they had with me literally, "My
Hey,
name is
guys.
Tarcia, and I'm adopted."
Okay. Meanwhile, your
Show and
mother's like,
tell. I tell the story too. Show and tell one time was, "I'm adopted." That was my show and tell. I was so proud. And eventually, it got to a point my mom was like, "Girl, you don't have to tell everybody."
You don't have to tell it all,
I'll tell
sweetheart."
everybody.
Hey, friends, we're so thankful for your support. If you want to be updated whenever we drop a new episode or when we drop some of the special things we've got coming, head on over to everythinghaschangedpodcast.com and drop us your email so you can stay locked in. Cool? Cool.
And again, we have to remember this was a different time.
Way
I
different.
think in this time, this lens, we're like, "Of course, yes, that's empowering," but back in the day, you
That's house
you didn't
business.
it's house business, you didn't talk about it. People would say, "Now that baby looks different than the rest of them." And then what do we say? "Well, recessive genes. She looked like her
I'm telling
great-great-grandmama,"
you. I'm
which is
telling you.
possible because that is possible. We have shades in our family. My mother, not quite as light skinned as your mother, but brown.
She wasn't a
Her
red bone? Mama
She
gonna
wasn't a
kill
red bone.
me.
My auntie was a red bone with red, sandy blonde hair with freckles, and then her other sister is dark chocolate, and they same parents. So that wasn't too far off for people to say, yeah, 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 that baby pulled from back in the day.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
we just didn't, and it was because of a lot of times, fear or shame from the woman, because as women, what are we our job is to birth and bring about life, and who are we if we can't do those things? And so
Mhm.
back to what I was saying with me, I'm like, "Well, wait a minute, that well, what am I supposed to do?" I had to grieve that process of I can still I'm still a woman, I can still be a mother, but society just places that on us, like, if you can't produce. Even when I was dating and meeting people and just random conversation when you're dating, "Oh, yeah, I can't wait to have a kid that looks like me and looks like you. We would make pretty babies." And in my head, I'm like, "Okay, well, I don't know how to tell you this, but
Mm.
I shouldn't have children. It's not I can't, I should not due to the safety of that child." How do you do that? How do you say that? And that's now. So imagine back then where
Right.
nobody was talking about therapy or using words, that would affirm and encouragement. Shh. Just don't say nothing. We got
Just
this
don't say
beautiful
nothing.
baby. I went away and I came back with this baby. She's
That's it.
ours.
She's ours.
Period. And here you go.
Mhm. Doing what I do best. Run my
Oh
mouth.
my god.
Tell all the people and ask all the questions. So to answer your question, what they did because over time, they spoon-fed me my story because,
Okay.
the questions didn't stop.
No, of course not. You coming back around. Once you were done with the
Coming
Barbies,
back.
you're like, "Now wait a minute.
No, no.
Got something else for y'all."
Yeah.
Wow.
So for adopted parents that are listening, tell
Mhm.
them early and spoon feed them in a child appropriate way. If you have information, that's a great way to give them information. It's very
Mhm.
damaging for you to wait.
Mm.
And that's all I'll say about that.
Okay. And
Okay.
we'll share some more resources a little bit later too. But now I want to get back to some of what you mentioned, abandonment issues and how that's showing up, and that you are now being able to recognize, like, "Ooh, huh, I've been doing this whole time." And I want to share with our listeners in a previous episode, we talked about friendships and friendships fallout and breakups, friendship breakups, and how they're sometimes more hurtful than a romantic relationship. And in my story, I used two examples. One that I said, I think the question was, would you, if that person came back around, would you be able to communicate and get things back on track? And for one, it was absolutely no. It was a God bless. And that still remains. But for the other, I said, I realized that it wasn't about me. It couldn't have been about me. And I wished them well. And once she told me that it wasn't about me and that she was having some internal dialogue with herself, reflection, we were able to come back together. And the reveal is this lady. So I've known this lady. Her baby, how old is Bryce now?
15. I'm
15
almost an
years
empty
old.
nester. I'm sorry. I'm back.
Okay. See? Okay. All right. He's 15. I've known her since she was waddling down the hallway at work with him. We were coworkers together. I babysat this baby when he came out, like friends, like my confidant, my friend, all these years through the transplant, through all the things. And I get engaged.
Can I just interject very quickly
What's
and
that?
let your viewers know that the day that you got the call for the transplant, you and I just so happened to have had breakfast that morning together. Do you remember that?
Do we have break And I was going to
We
a
did.
concert with Diana.
I remember your eyes being very
Yeah,
yellow and going
very.
home and telling my husband, "I don't know how much longer my friend has if she don't get that call soon."
Yeah. It was close. It was
Just
real
just
close.
j just to speak to the closeness.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So close. And I get engaged and I'm calling my tight girls, my friends. I'm like, oh, hey girl, I just got engaged. Silence on the other end. I'm like, hello, hello? Let me check the mic check. I just said I just got engaged, friend. You're like, oh, that's nice. Okay. Okay. Are you all right? Are you sleeping? Is everything okay? Did I call you at a bad time? Okay. All right. The process of planning and asking questions and just not interested. All right. And then ultimately, maybe the next year, but probably by your birthday in March, we had stopped talking completely. And I asked, like, hey, did I do something? Did I say something? What is going on? Nothing. It's fine. It's fine. It's
S
fine.
Sounds just like me.
Uh-huh. All right. Something's not fine because, again, I've kept your child, like, in your house. I would babysit in your house. So we're that tight. And I'm telling you some big news. And it was met with, okay. So I was like, "All right. Well, God, whatever this is," she says it's fine. Um, my feelings were hurt. I was like, "Well, what is going on?" But God bless and continue to move on. Fast forward to my mother passing, and she reaches out, but she's a different person. Help me
Mm.
unpack that moment.
Can you tell me the year that you got engaged?
2018, December of 2018.
Very long time before the podcast.
Mhm, mhm,
Okay, so something else that I learned about myself, and this is in hindsight, me being the way that I was affected how I showed up for people or didn't show up for people.
mhm,
Also, um, let's talk about nature versus nurture. The things that were inside of me naturally versus the things I grew up with also affected how I showed up for people or did
mhm.
not. That was a constant battle. Um, and when you told me the news, I figured out a way, which I had become very good at, instead of being there for you as your friend, regardless of how I felt about any of it, I figured out a way to make it about me and do what I do
Yeah.
best, disappear and not have any conversation, not, um, um, it's like, let me I couldn't even tell you what I would be protecting myself from, but it was like, I don't wanna do this, so I'm disappearing.
And what did you feel? Like, what was that? Me telling
I
you that news?
I remember feeling like I had questions that I didn't wanna ask, like, "Are you sure? Is this what" I just remember having questions, and but again, I also figured out a way to make it about me and then respond accordingly, instead of what a friend should do is have those conversations and ask those questions and show up in the same way I would want someone to show up for me. That's the piece that this person right here often reminds herself, "Okay, how would you want someone to show up for you?"
Mhm,
And it makes me intentionally move differently. I
mhm.
would not have asked myself that back or I did not ask myself back then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you mentioned before too, it was a form of abandonment, like an example. You felt like you were losing a part of me.
I felt like I was losing. And so before you could dip, I'm a dip. You dip a dip I'm sorry, I'm back.
Okay, all
And
right. And meanwhile, I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, I'm I'm not the girl that gets into a relationship and just poof to all my friends. I have balance. I need time with my friends and girlfriend
no,
time."
you were leaving. You were leaving. I was confused. I had questions. I just didn't know. And so the best way to deal with that is to disappear. And
Mm,
I'm not giving any explanation. It just feels like what I should do in the moment. And um I'm not gonna let you abandon me, so I'm going to just disappear.
yeah. And mind you, so 2019 is, when we officially stopped connecting. My mother passed September of 2023, so that's the gap, people.
Okay. So, I see this announcement come on into my Facebook feed, and I almost dropped my phone
Mhm,
because the last time you and I were in contact, it was your father that had all the things.
mhm,
And I remember I was at home, and I remember just staring at my phone because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I told Jimmy, and he too was like, "What?" I'm like, and I said, "I know we haven't talked, but I gotta reach out. I gotta offer my condolences." And then things started playing in my mind like, "You were supposed to be there. You should have been there." Because in
mhm.
this moment, I have no clue what has happened. I don't know, I don't know the story. I just see the announcement. And I'm like thinking about the relationship that you had with your I was just like, she's devastated right now. I know this.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there. I even asked Jim, I'm like, should I? I said I need to reach out, but then I was like, should I reach out? She probably don't want to talk to me. We haven't talked in years.
Yeah.
I'm in a space now where I'm just thinking differently. I'm looking at things differently. And I'm like, I gotta say something. And so I had to take a deep breath, swallow really, really hard, and send that. I think I sent a text. I think
Mhm,
that's what I did.
mhm.
And I also was like, she may or may not respond. I'm sure her phone is blowing up right now.
Oh gosh. Oof.
And to be honest with you, I can't remember if you responded or not. I I don't remember. And there was so much going on, you might not even remember either. I don't
Mhm,
remember. And so I reached out. I remember reaching out, just checking on you, and I was like, "This is so weird," but I already know what this is for her, even not knowing the story, just
mhm,
knowing just what has happened. And then we got to, the viewing for your mom.
mhm,
I am this is gonna be weird. The same kind of feeling, that knots in your stomach, really, 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 really nervous, that I had when I went to go meet my birth mom is the same kind of feeling I had on my way to the church that day, in
mhm,
anticipation of seeing you, and I didn't see you. You
mm,
hadn't gotten there yet, no.
mm-mm. Yeah.
But I did text. I did let you know that we were there because we couldn't be there the next day, so we made
Mhm,
sure we went that day. And to my surprise, you responded because I wasn't expecting it certainly wasn't expecting a response in that moment. I know
mhm.
exactly what you said in that text, but I won't repeat it here. It wasn't bad. I just
Yeah,
won't
yeah,
repeat
yeah.
it. But, so from your side, I'm sure you're looking at this phone like, "What is this girl doing?"
Yeah, yeah. It had been, 'cause again, 19 and here we are in 2023 and just so life, social media is still there, you still see stuff. It pops up, and so all these different changes had happened and, she's an AKA now, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Alright." She already went to Cookman, so I'm like, "Okay, so she just completely."
Hail Wildcats.
Okay, relax. Relax. Rattlers for life. Okay. And so all these life changes, and again, it's that and I wasn't even it was more hurt and prayer. Like, well, who was this person this whole time? And I had to let go of what did I do? I said, it's not about me. Something, but clearly you're just living your life. Okay. Um, but having to grieve that. And yes, when when she first got sick and dementia and Alzheimer's and all the things, I'm like, some of the stuff, sometimes you have to laugh to keep from crying. And there were moments that I wanted to share with you because she was so funny. My mother she just was funny and she didn't know sometimes what she was saying, but when she would say things and do things, it was just funny. And that's all we do. We cackle. We cackle. You and I just laugh. We got giggles all the time. And I would want to text or say, girl, mama, let me tell you what mama did today. Similar to the stories that you tell me about your dad. Like Mr. Leon has story for days, and we just have laughed about our parents for years, okay? Just years, laughed at them. Just parenting our parents. Um, and so, yeah, it was like, dang. And then as she was in the process of what do they call actively dying, and all my tight circle was there and, just helped me process. So when I saw your text, because I want to say, like you said, that first week, the planning, oh my God, you just want to throw the phone into the ocean. But you have to, well, I had to handle business. And so,
Mhm.
but I do remember, and we, I could not handle being at the wake that long with people. So I was like, all right, we're going to go towards the end. And then we had the Omega Omega service. And then we out. We out. Because there's not a lot of time for folks to be hugging on me. And then I just need to keep it together as much as possible. So you text me that you were there. And so I knew that we wouldn't see each other because I think you said you had to leave, or I was like, no, we're not even close to coming.
Oh, we were close. Oh, no, because when I left, it was getting close to the Omega
Yeah.
service, so we had to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was open though. Other people stayed.
Oh.
That was open.
Oh, I didn't know
Mhm.
that. I didn't know that. I
Yep.
didn't know that.
But, yes, so I knew we missed each other, and I'm trying to think, maybe a couple of weeks later, maybe even a month, I must have reached out, and I don't even
Okay.
remember.
I remember that text.
I don't
You
remember.
said I don't remember how long it was within the first couple of weeks, though, after the
Okay.
service, because I continued to check on you periodically.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I knew I didn't know the story. I didn't know what
Mhm.
happened to mom. I just knew what this was for you.
And me in the
And
fetal position in the middle of the
y
floor every night. Yep.
right. And,
Yep.
you text and you were like, alright, what are we doing?" And I was like, "Oof."
'Cause at that point, I'm so raw and my emotions are just, "What? The worst has happened to me. What else? What?" That's what it
"Why are
was.
you here, girl?"
What?
Was the yeah, 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 and rightfully so. And I had to take that and go, "Oof." And then, like I said earlier, I started thinking, "What if this was you?" So I had to put myself in your shoes.
Mhm.
I wasn't angry at the text, I got it. I was just a little taken back. I was like, "Oh."
Whew.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah.
I apologize to everybody who I talked to, in those those couple of months. Still, now, I'm just not the same person, so carry on.
And I don't remember my response, I just remember your initial text, but somewhere in there, we decided, we're gonna go and have lunch and sit down and talk.
Mhm. Mhm.
which I was, again, so nervous.
You had that knot in your stomach again?
Mhm.
Now, also, I wanted to get the timeline straight. When did you start the podcast? Because I didn't even know
May
about the podcast.
May 2023.
And look at that.
Mhm,
Look at that.
mhm.
Wow.
June, July, August, September, October, November. So earlier I said maybe about 6 months when I started
Mhm.
realizing there were things, so it had to be before that because from May to November is not so yeah, it didn't take very long for me to start going, "Mm."
Like, oh.
So this right here was one of those early revelations. Mhm.
So by my mom passing and you seeing it and you're like, "Oh, that may have been a adoption
Mhm.
lowercase t trauma."
Lowercase t that I was gonna I'm gonna get out your way. Imma me and all of my questions and my things and um, my lived experiences, we gonna go on and get out your way so you can do this. Oh, okay, here's something I don't think I've ever shared with you. So leading up to your service, your wedding, and I would see pictures, or I saw a couple of pictures through mutual friends, and I was feeling some type of way.
Oh.
Uh, I know
The
the
audacity
audacity
to feel some type of
to
way.
feel some type of way. I can say that now, but
Mhm.
then, and this is pre-podcast,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, girl, I was doing a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot. And so because I was in a heart posture of grace and just praying about it because again, it wasn't I knew it wasn't me. It was clearly something going on with you. Once we did meet and you were able to articulate like, "No, this podcast has revealed some things about me." And I this was a huge um, example of the behavior that I've had that I didn't even know was associated with my adoption. And me listening to the podcast and just hearing the work that you were doing and putting into it, I was like, I, yeah, yeah, I could see that.
And I wanna say this because, again, this is my rainbows, unicorns, and pony. It never occurred to me, and I've told you this before, it never occurred to me that you could have said, "Thank you, but no thank you."
Yeah.
Never even crossed my mind.
You just knew I was going to come back. You're like, "Oh, we're gonna be friends and skip down the hall together and braid each other's hair and cackle like we used to." Meanwhile,
The audacity of me, once again, even
once
on this
again,
healing journey, it
mhm,
never occurred to me that you and I could have had lunch, had the conversation, and you be like, "Thanks, but enjoy your life."
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to pray on it. I had to pray on it, and it was a um, slow burn to get us back to a point where it's just, "Okay, we're giggling and all the things again," because it
Mhm.
was hurt.
Yeah. I remember feeling
And
like forgetting it was okay to text you and tell you stuff. I would have to remind myself like, "Oh, I can I can text her.
Yeah.
I can call her, but am I doing too much too soon?
And it started more text. The phone calls came later, if you remember. It was more
You're right. Yeah, yeah.
texting, like a slow, because you're right. I could have, I was such in a vulnerable place. It was nothing but God.
Mm.
And because you knew our history was so long and you knew mom, you knew everything that was going on, leading
She
up and
babysat Bryce. Y'all babysat Bryce together.
and they loved him. He ran around that
Oh.
house, and that was her baby, taking naps, you know? Um, and so all of that came in. But yeah, I did have a decision to make, like, "Okay, we've gone this long. Um, the
I
worst
was
has
just
happened. I've gotten through that. The people who were there, who I needed. Um, so this is great that it was confirmation that I knew it wasn't about me because 'cause I'm like, "I didn't do
it was never about you.
anything. I just said I was getting married." And I was like, and no, she don't want me. Like, I know it's not what." So that was more like, "Okay, I'm not tripping. It wasn't about me. This was something that was
I
going on
was
with her."
tripping, and it still
Yeah.
blows my mind even today to hear you say, "I had a decision to make."
Yeah. Yeah. But and that's what I mean about the timing. So you start this podcast, you're on this healing journey, and you're thinking of all these things. So you're saying that's May is when you started?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so here we are, September, October, November-ish, as I'm trying to work through it. And then me being in such a open and vulnerable space because if I I probably would not have been ready if she hadn't passed because I was so busy caring for her and life. And so I'll take it back. I've wanted to be a mother and thought about adoption. But like you said, my dad has always been sick. And so taking care of him. But then when mom got sick, she became my child. She was my baby.
Mm.
And I just didn't have any more space. I didn't have capacity for a newborn or raising my own child, a child, because my mother was turning into a child with
Mm.
this disease. You roll back. And so this strong pillar woman that is my hero still to this day, I'm helping her bathe. And I'm putting lotion on her hands and her legs and all the things that she used to do for me when I was a baby, putting her nightgown on and getting her tucked in and ready for bed. So she was my baby, making sure she was fed and all those things. So a child had was gone. Me having my own child, I was like, I have children. So my dad is a teenager, the way he was behaving, still just be out here, just breaking the rules. And then I had my mother who like in a toddler stage and then almost to an infancy, needing that type of care. And so I didn't
Mm.
have space. I wouldn't have had space to deal. I'd be like, okay, girl, hey,
And I don't know what I have no clue what else would have made me reach out.
right. Yeah. Because I already don't post like that anyway. I
Nothing.
I didn't post about my wedding. Like you said, people mutual
No, like I said, I
friend.
saw mutual friends. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
saw. I
Um,
was like, "Ugh,
yeah, yeah.
this
Yep.
girl just stupid." Just
Yep.
stupid. Just stupid.
So, yeah, I don't know what else would have, brought us back together either. Look at Rita doing the
Never
healing.
thought about it like that.
She's still and it's amazing, she's still parenting me, she's still mothering me, she's still teaching me lessons to this day, even though her physical being is not here. They're just revelations all the time where I'm like, "Hmm, what would Rita do?" I could hear her voice still.
Mm.
And so, look at her. She's like, "My baby needs her people." I feel like that's what she said. She needs to
Mm.
know, because her main thing and it's so funny, even before she got sick, her thing was always, "Now, when I leave this place, y'all better take care of my baby." She would tell that to everybody. "Y'all better take care of my baby." And so I think the ones who have done their assignment, and there's some who haven't, um, I think us reconnecting was one of those things. Because once we got back to the giggles, that's what I needed. I needed the
Mhm.
just giggles and laughing and the stories of Mr. Leon doing something else that's like
Ah.
that man is so funny. Her daddy is a comedian and he don't even know it. Um, so yeah, it's a very profound moment. And so you're talking, and in the podcast, you gave me the courage to do my podcast because I was like, wait, you did a podcast? How'd you do that? She's like, girl, I put a mic in front of my face and started talking. I can't do that.
Yes, you
I said,
can.
yes, you can. And now look at us.
Now look at you. There's something about adults being able to come back together as friends. You
Mhm.
don't see it very often because we are adults. We get into our spaces. We feel how we feel, and we probably are not going to ever let the other person know. We're just going to move on. Um, like like I had done. I had just moved on. No explanation, um, no nothing. Just you're leaving. I'm confused. I don't understand. I have questions, but I'll be over here.
A mess. A mess. And probably like, now she says she ain't never want to be married. That's the main thing. I wasn't a person that wanted to get married. That just wasn't on my list of things to do. Um, and that, that's a whole
That's a whole nother podcast.
another podcast. But um, yeah, yeah, ghosted is the
Like
term.
ghost.
Ghosted.
And then even my mama was checking on you during our have you talked to her? Have you not? Oh. And she just asking
Mm.
those Dolores type questions.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. And what did you tell them? You just like, "Oh, she's alright.
She
She okay.
she's okay. She's
She
okay.
good." Mhm.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, be like, "Oh, I'm over here tripping." Mhm.
Not
Mhm.
me. So,
But
when I said earlier, I took casualties with me. You were one of
mhm.
those casualties and
Yep.
didn't even realize, and as horrible as this sounds, and was okay with it.
Mhm. 'Cause you didn't know.
'cause I didn't know. Um, this is just how I've always dealt with stuff. Trauma with a little T. There are things.
Mhm. Abandonment issues, and you mentioned, you were with your birth mother for at least 24 hours. So, that's like you say, skin to skin, she may have nursed you. So, on a cellular level, you 2 connected, and then you're put in the hands of someone else in foster care, and then
Mm,
you're placed into the hands of someone else.
and
So, all
someone
those
else.
energy that energy of
Mhm.
being moved in that infancy stage. And just like that was a perfect analogy, not to compare people with humans, but the idea of
The
not separating them too soon because they do have dogs really do
Mhm.
have separation anxiety. They have um, different types of traumas if you take them away from the mother too soon. They don't thrive well. And I learned that.
Right.
I learned about that. I did not know that it was a thing. Um, and so, in you even being loved, you had wonderful parents, loved you, spoiled you, you were the
Wonderful.
princess.
That's
But
why I have
something
rainbows,
still,
unicorns, and ponies. It's their fault.
yeah. And nothing that they did is just the
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
process of being adopted
It's the
that you
process of
have to
being adopted. It's
consider.
a process. Yes. You have to consider that you're adopting not only a baby, you're adopting a toddler, then you're adopting an elementary schooler, then you're adopting that teenager,
Mhm.
then you got that young adult. Like, you gotta consider the full person. You're gonna go through all of these stages, and it's not always gonna be pretty.
Yeah. Because again, nature versus nurture, and I know that sometimes can be
Ooh.
scary. That can scare people, because we don't know where the baby came from or what the environment was, so you don't know. Um, so as someone who is considering adopting or has adopted, and not to scare or have any fear, but just awareness that some of these things can come up. And as I mentioned in your podcast, um, I think although you're working through it, you're still working and healing, it's time to call that lady, as we say, because there's so much that you've gotten to this point where it's a revelation, but now how do you process it? How do you really truly process it? And so here on this podcast, we are advocates for therapy. We shout out therapy for Black girls all the time
All the time.
and all the time. And yeah, I think that would benefit you in this place and anyone who's considering adoption, who has been adopted, anybody. I think honestly
Any
for therapy. But
anybody.
in this case, I think it would be helpful as you continue to grow. And I've seen the growth. You're a different person from when we were back in the day, and I'm a different person too.
Mhm.
2 people on a healing journey in different ways.
I find myself a lot now going, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much I missed my friend."
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause she's gonna get it, as crazy as it is. I could say whatever, tell her whatever.
Yeah. Don't have to explain it. Don't have to go into deep details, like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about." And I do, but I don't because I don't know what it is to be adopted, but I can empathize and listen and hear you in ways, what you're trying to say and what you're not saying. And this has been a ride. And I really want people, and we're being vague on purpose because I want people to go back and listen to your podcast. I want them to go and hear the fascinating story that's still going on. You can start with the one that she and I did, the most recent one, but if you go back and really, really get to hear her story, this conversation will make it even richer in the meaning of this conversation that we're having right now if you knew the full backstory. So I think you should. I'm telling you, go back, go and listen. And then you can come back to this one too. And then you're like, oh,
Oh, oh, that's what she
yeah.
was.
Yeah, they was really,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it's friendship breakups and being at a point where you can have hard conversations. And it's not fighting. You're not fighting. You're not arguing. It's hearing each other out and having an open heart to understand and see. Um, and it
We
doesn't.
really did that, didn't we?
We did.
We really sat down
Had to
at
talk.
lunch and had a talk.
Had to tell you, hey, you messed up, girl. You tried it. My feelings were hurt. Cause I what do you how what? Huh? I
Yeah.
was just so
Yeah,
confused.
yeah.
It was baffling. And
It
like you,
was.
your family was asking about me, my family. Where's you getting married? Where's Tarsha? What happened? Where's she at? She's not coming? Nope.
Mm-mm.
Nope. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
I didn't even know what was going on.
You didn't even know what's going on.
I just knew in the moment. It's how I was feeling, so that's what I did, and yeah. So, like, I just thank the podcast because it really made me look at myself, which is so hard and so scary
Mhm.
and so challenging at times. 'Cause again, I'll speak for myself because that denial is real.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you had a good life.
I had a good life, but there are things. There are still things.
Mhm. Mhm. As you say, this baby comes with a story, a whole 'nother life they could've led, but it's a history there that's attached to this baby, and love you can love as much as and deeply as you can. There's still
Going to
possibly
be
some
things.
residual. Mhm, mhm, and so that's what I love about your podcast because it's teaching you, it's teaching possible adoptive parents who are thinking, about it to consider and just be aware, not even as a again, not fear, but just
Mm-mm.
awareness.
Stay aware.
The tools that you would need and awareness in taking on and loving this child that you choose. Baby, toddler, teenager, whomever. Because
Mm.
we're talking about babies because you were adopted as babies with, children in middle school, that age group. They need to be they're in foster care right now. So you're teaching, and I wanna know also what other resources that we can share with people, and that other piece in all of this, how you're bringing a community together of Black adoptees.
Oh.
I
Oh.
want you to get into that as well.
Okay, so first, I'll speak on Black Adoptees Meetup. So
Yes.
that came about, um, because in talking to people, myself and a friend, Dr. Kathy Garland, were having a conversation, and we were like, "Where are the Black people in this adoption space?" And what we mean by that is most of the time, if you were to go to any adoption event, you're
Mhm.
going to be one or one of very few in that space.
Wow.
And it's one thing to be adopted, but it's something real different to be Black and adopted. And it's twofold because, um, to be in a space and you don't have to explain your Blackness,
Mhm.
you don't have to explain what this adoption thing is. Um,
Wow.
it's yeah. And then you have the other side of the coin. You have people that are Black, but were raised with a different race. So sometimes they've not
Ooh.
been exposed. They've grown up in communities where they don't see any representation of themselves. Um, they've grown up in a community where they're not real sure how to take care of their hair, just all those little nuances.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
again, to come into this space and be like, "Oh, this is what it feels like to be a community."
Mhm.
And so that's why the space exists. What we didn't know is that when we created the weekend, which the first weekend happened in 2024 in Atlanta, what we didn't know is that we were starting a thing,
Mhm.
a whole thing,
A whole thing.
a whole thing. And so we got together for the first time as a community in October 2024. We went to Atlanta. Neither one of us are from Atlanta. We just went there because it's a good central spot. And we had 25 people from across the country show up. And we planned out a little weekend. We mimicked a family reunion, a Black family reunion,
Mhm.
whereas, like, you have your meet and greet, and then you have, like, your activity for the day, and then we did a dinner Saturday night. That's the model that it mimics. In October 2025, we went to Chicago, where we had 30 people show up, to include one that came specifically all the way from the UK for the meetup, which goes to show you how needed the space is. He
Ooh.
wanted to be a community, and I'll never
Mhm.
forget when he inboxed me, he was like, "I just registered and bought my ticket." I'm sorry, what?
From the pond, across the
From the
pond.
across the pond? And the
Yeah.
what we've constantly heard is, "It's something that I never knew I needed. It's a space that I never knew I needed." And in October 2nd through the 4th in 2026, we are going to Philly.
Mhm.
Very excited. So go to blackadopteesmeetup.org and that you can look for the registration. Um, and don't wait because registration is going to fill up very fast. And when we're done, we're done. So
For now, because I've told her, I was like, "Child, prepare. This is gonna be like a conference." Because there's just not a space, just like you said, for Black adoptees,
there's
and
not a
we have a
space.
unique experience just in this world, in this life, and so, yes, there are adoption, communities that are out there, but specifically for
For
Black
Black.
people
Mm.
who are adopted, you are providing a need, and the demand is so great, and as the word continues to get out,
Oh my gosh.
ooh, just get ready. Get ready, get ready, get
Yes, ma'am.
ready,
Like I tell
'cause
you all the time,
they're
yes,
coming.
ma'am.
They're coming. they're coming,
Yes,
and you did, like, a quickie here in Orlando.
oh, yeah, and they did one in Atlanta.
Uh,
We did a little mini meetup. I did one here locally in Orlando. We just
mhm.
met at a Starbucks. 2 weeks ago, they did the same thing up in Atlanta. They met at the Black Girl Art Show,
Wow.
and they had a ball, those pictures and everything. If you, go to the Instagram page, you can see all the pictures and everything. So, yeah, little mini communities are popping up to, um, get ready for, like, the big family reunion, if you will,
Mhm. Mhm.
happening in Philly in October. So, yeah,
Amazing. Amazing, amazing work.
thank you. I can get back now to
Amazing.
the resources, and I'm going to shout out
Yes.
podcasts because
Mhm.
I think that's the richest way. I know there's books and all that, but these
Sure.
podcasts, you're hearing real stories and real conversation. Um, Black the Black Adoption Podcast, Black to the Beginning. I
Mm.
have met Dr. Sam and Sandria Washington. They are amazing individuals. So please check out their podcast. Plus, they're doing all kinds of other things as well. Check out Black Adoptees Identities. Um, I've been on her show. Again, an amazing person.
Mhm.
Also, Isaac, um, good Lord, his last name escapes me. I'm looking it up right now, but his is Identity.
Okay.
He is a transracial, what we call a transracial adoptee,
Meaning?
and meaning he was adopted by, um in his case, he was adopted by white people
Mhm.
and raised in rural Pennsylvania around white people. Isaac Eater, I don't know why his last name escaped me. Identity. He's doing some major, major things. Be as young as he is, he's only 26, and he's doing some major things out here, moving and shaking.
Mm.
He was on my show a couple years ago, and just to give you an example for those that don't know, he his he was growing up getting his hair cut at, Sports Clips.
Yep, that's the one.
Yep.
I remember his story, and it was like, "Oh, bless his heart." He was going to Sport Clips
Sports
and
Clips
Great Clips and
and Great Clip,
the
yeah,
places in the mall to go get
yeah,
his hair cut.
and
A little
he's
black
got,
boy.
yeah, little black boy. He's black and Dominican, so that just gives you an idea of that. Mhm.
Bless
Mhm,
his
he's got some
heart.
great stories about his hair journey,
Uh, 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 uh.
great stories, but that just gives you an idea of what happens when you get into these, spaces, and his parents, he had a great childhood, they loved
Yeah,
him. It's not that
yeah,
they didn't love him, you don't know what you don't know.
yeah.
So, he's educating. So, those are the 3 that I want to, shout out, so please check them out. Those are some
Yes,
fabulous resources.
and I'll add them to the show notes as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doing some amazing things. Very proud of him.
You're doing the
So,
work. You're doing the work. Keep
thank
doing the
you.
work. It's needed, it's necessary. I'm learning. I've learned so much, and, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, friend. Look at us.
Look at us.
Who would have thought? Look at us. Yeah. We're both doing some really deep emotional and spiritual work on ourselves.
Mm,
It's yeah, yeah. When you have to reconcile with some things within yourself and who the type of woman you want to be in this
mm,
world and the people who you want to have around you and speak life into you
that
and not pull
matters.
away. Ooh-wee, it matters.
Matters.
We're not draining energy. We're gaining. That's what we're doing. We're going to have people who are going to speak life into us to push us forward. So I thank you. I thank you for your time. I thank you for reaching out. Like I said, God, my mama, something made you reach out for us to get back on into our friendship. And I'm grateful, and we'll just continue to build and go from there.
Thank you for having me on the Everything Has Changed podcast.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. My solo episode. You
Solo
can
episode.
reach me at better3701 on Instagram. And our wonderful Shonda Head is also next when we record again. She will be back with us along with our website, the everythinghaschangedpodcast.com. And we just thank you. Thank you all for the listeners and lessons. Peace, everyone. Bye. Want to stay locked in with us so you never miss an episode? Visit everythinghaschangedpodcast.com and join our email list. That way you'll be the first to know about new episodes and all the fun stuff we have coming your way. Meet us over there.